A warm welcome to Trevor. Now we will move down under, down to Australia. TravConsult has been in the market since 2002 and has been working with Asian markets, not only China, but with other Asian destinations as well, how to promote the destinations, how to get these destinations, the message spread all over the world. I first saw Trevor a couple of months ago on a workshop. The subject was how to deal with Chinese partners, how to bridge China and Western attitudes and cultures. I found that very interesting and I reached out and here we are. Happy to see you, Trevor. So I know the F word, but what are the 5 F words, Trevor?
Thank you, Jan. Thank you very much for your kind introduction, and to everyone watching, tuning in, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. As Jan said, I'm speaking live from Australia, the East Coast. It's currently just gone 8 p.m. It's been a beautiful day here. Summer's coming on. The surf has been very, very good. My wife, Lilly, and business partner, she went surfing this morning. So, yeah, look, it's fantastic to be here, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Jan, and your Zoom or BUZZ.travel team for inviting me to speak at this wonderful BUZZ Expo China Summit. And I must say I'm very honoured to be speaking amongst so many incredible, experienced, highly regarded China tourism, China travel, China business, and China general experts, and it's a real honour. And in particular, I would like to acknowledge the ambassador of your event, Jan, Professor Walt, who I've known for some time. I would also like to acknowledge the previous speaker, Jens Threnhardt, and also Dr. Adam Wu. These people I've known since about 2005, 2006. They were the pioneers of Chinese tourism globally in all spaces: research, social media, internet. These 3 people were really the leaders in their field, and it's fantastic to be speaking among them. So thank you once again, Jan, and I would like to now begin. Can I just check that you can see my presentation, please? Okay. First of all, just a little bit about our business. My lovely wife and business partner, Lilly, and I started TravConsult back in 2002. We specialise in Asian market insights for aviation, tourism, and retail development. Basically, what we do, we educate executives and organisations and their teams within these industries to help them to better understand, better engage, and better sell to their guests, their customers, visitors, passengers, etc., from China, India, Japan, South Korea, and Indonesia. However, of course, this workshop, this summit, my presentation is all about the Chinese traveller market. Over the past 18 years, we've had the pleasure of working with some incredible organisations, more importantly, amazing people around Australia, around New Zealand, in Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, China, and India as well. And as has already been discussed in the many presentations already in the summit, this past 9-10 month period with COVID-19 has certainly impacted globally on our travel industry. But it's a summit like this BUZZ Expo China Summit, can really help to bring the industry together to learn to move forward in the best way possible. And I'd just like to say before I begin my presentation that there's been a lot of talk about the safety and the importance of safety as we move forward post-COVID as a travel industry. I think equally important, and perhaps even more important, is going to be the industry's ability to deliver the travel experience better than pre-COVID. If we continue doing the same things that we were doing pre-COVID, we're not going to maximise the opportunities that the new international travel will bring, particularly the new traveller from China, that post-COVID Chinese travellers. So urging everyone, we need more events like this. We need more collaboration. We can certainly do this much better post-COVID. Just a little bit about our own experience with the Chinese traveller market. Lilly and I first, as I said, we started TravConsult in 2002. We began researching the Chinese traveller market in 2003. We delivered our very first Chinese culture, Chinese customer service workshops in 2004. Back then, very few organisations in the tourism industry were interested in China. They weren't interested in Chinese tourists. In fact, they only really wanted Japanese tourists back then. How much the world has changed with that demand, with everywhere globally, all destinations now chasing the Chinese traveller. We've worked with international airports, with international hotel chains, casinos, integrated resorts, financial institutions, travel retail, duty-free, destinations, government bodies. And now it's so important that we all come together to collaborate, to learn how we can deliver a better experience than ever before for this new Chinese traveller. So coming on to my topics, the Chinese tourists and the 5 F words you must know for success. One of the first things that we tell every new client when we sit down with them, we say, first thing you must understand is that your Chinese traveller, your Chinese tourist, your Chinese guest is not just a number. They're not just a figure. They're not a statistic. They're not just a market share. They're people like you and I, with feelings, with emotions, with expectations that they're going to have a fantastic time when they travel abroad. So to begin, if you can all now, I know there's been lots of figures and statistics and graphs already in many presentations, which we need. But it's important to remember, if we want to win them over, we must treat them and understand them as people first. So that being the case, let's go on to the very first F word that you must know for success with your Chinese tourists. And this first word is face. So how do we define face? We define face in a way of status, self-esteem, dignity, respect in social relations, in social situations. Now, how does that apply to a Chinese person? If you give a Chinese person face, they will feel a sense of respect. They will feel a sense of dignity. They will feel that status. What you want to do is ensure you never embarrass your Chinese guest. Absolutely paramount. If you embarrass them, automatically they feel bad. They don't feel respected. Their status inside goes down. If they don't feel good, they don't want to visit your organisation. They don't want to visit your destination. Very importantly, they will not want to spend their money with you. However, if you give them face, if you give them respect, they will feel good. They will feel like they're having a great time and they will want to spend their money. First example I'd like to give of the best example of giving face happened, this is in our opinion, happened in 2011, April 1. And this was no April Fool's joke. This actually happened. April 1, 2011, China Southern Airlines had their inaugural flight from Guangzhou into Auckland Airport in New Zealand. On that day, when the plane arrived, when the China Southern plane arrived at Auckland Airport that day, waiting on the tarmac to greet the Chinese travellers on their first flight to New Zealand was the Prime Minister, John Key. The Prime Minister of New Zealand was waiting and he greeted every single Chinese passenger off the plane. How do you think that made the passengers feel? How do you think China Southern felt? How do you think China felt as a nation? This was such a big event. And with that one action, New Zealand truly welcomed and greeted and gave face to China, and very importantly, these Chinese travellers. So let's move forward. Post-COVID, and Chinese travellers are finally able to travel outside of China. We know China's just gone through Golden Week. It was a massive success. Chinese people travelling everywhere within China, but soon they will be travelling and wanting to travel out. Let me ask you, how do you plan to welcome your new Chinese travellers? How do you plan to give them face? Just imagine your new Chinese travellers landing in your destination at your airport. How is your airport going to give face to these new Chinese travellers? Will there be some announcements in Chinese language to make these new Chinese travelers feel comfortable as they start walking through your airport. When they are walking past the shops, will there be some signage in Chinese writing, in simplified Chinese that they could understand? Will your airport have a WeChat mini program? And I know there's been a lot of talk about the WeChat mini programs throughout the summit. Very important. Will your airport have one that allows your new Chinese traveler, new Chinese guests to use, to feel comfortable, to understand that, wow, I know I can get through the airport. I can understand this on my airport app. And now your new Chinese traveler gets to security and customs. Have you trained your staff in a few Chinese expressions, language to greet, to welcome? Has their body language been trained to show a welcoming nature? Will they be able to give face to these new travelers from China? So let's move forward. The Chinese travelers check into their hotel in your destination. Again, will the staff that come to greet your Chinese guests, will they be giving face? Will they be trained to welcome? The Chinese guests come in to check in. It will be all contactless for sure, but will be everything be in place that continually shows we want to welcome you. We want to make sure you feel good, you don't feel embarrassed, and you are not confused with anything that is happening around. When they go to the room, again, does your hotels, do they have the mini programs in place with all of the language translated so your Chinese guests can understand without any worry, any care whatsoever? Just like to give you a good example of one organisation doing it right and doing it wrong, and that was here in Australia. A few years ago, Lilly and I went and did a helicopter ride up in the northern part of Australia off the coast. And when we arrived at the airport to begin the whole process, we were given an orientation in a special orientation room. And there were TV screens set up for the English-speaking, English-reading people and for the Chinese people who had it in Chinese translations. And we thought, this is fantastic. They could see the orientation video, the safety video, they could watch it, they could understand it, and it was wonderful. However, we then got on the helicopter and we went up into the sky, traveling everywhere, looking out. The pilot only spoke in English and he made some jokes, he told some funny stories, and our Chinese guests couldn't understand it all. So some of the passengers, we were laughing, our Chinese guests weren't laughing. They started to feel embarrassed because they didn't know why we were laughing, and they felt that they had lost face. So that's just one example. So right away, I just like to leave you with this thought. How can you ensure that every part of your destination, from the airport to the hotel, to the attractions, to the experiences, continually thinking, how do we give face to our new Chinese traveler? Okay, the next F word is family. Oh my goodness, family. Oh, I'll tell you what, the importance of family in Chinese culture is huge. And this goes back to obviously Confucian philosophy. The family is number one. Family is so important in Chinese culture. And my first experience with family goes back a long, long way. And what I'd like you to think about now is, as has already been discussed throughout the summit, the new travelers that are coming out, we're not going to see the big Chinese groups anymore. We're not going to see groups of 50 or 100 traveling anymore. That's not going to happen, obviously, because of COVID. The new group will be the family group first. Again, just like with Golden Week, recently in China, it was families wanting to stay together, even extended families, the 4 grandparents, the 2 parents, the single child traveling together. So my question to you, if this is going to be the new segment traveling, is your destination family ready? Is it family friendly? How about your airport? Is it family friendly? Is it ready for the families of 6? More importantly, the extended families, perhaps of 12 or 15 people with the cousins as well in tow. It's very important to understand that the new wave, this next wave of Chinese traveller, won't be anything like we saw pre-COVID. Already, families are traveling in China. When they start traveling overseas, everything has to be geared towards them. Everything, from arrival, from the hotels, the attractions, the restaurants, the experiences. You must be thinking now, how can we be family ready? 2 things when it comes to family that they're going to want: safety absolutely paramount, crucial. Everyone will want that. That's natural. The second thing they're going to be wanting is a welcome. How are you going to welcome your Chinese families to ensure that not only do the grandparents feel welcome, but the parents who have worked very hard to pay for the entire trip for everyone, they've got to be made to feel welcome. And then, of course, that single child who is the golden emperor or empress, how do you make them feel welcome? So this family concept is crucial. Think now. How can you ensure you're going to be family friendly, family ready? Oh, just one thing on families before I go on to the next F word. A new trend that was starting last year and perhaps the year before as well was this. Chinese families traveling, yes, they want to go to a family-friendly destination, but guess what they want to do? They want to meet authentic, genuine families in the destinations they go to. I know when I take friends from Australia to China, I always say to them, I want you to do the tour in Beijing where you get to have lunch with a Chinese family, meet the Chinese family. This is something we need to be now thinking about. When the Chinese family comes to your destination, have some families there to have a lunch with them, a breakfast or a dinner, or take them to the pub, as I was talking about Diana just before my presentation started. The authentic family in your destination, how can you make that a welcoming experience for the Chinese families? Hey, the next one, friends. This is our third group, friends. The first travelers from China will be Chinese families. The second will be friends. They love traveling in friends. But again, it won't be like the big friend groups of friends of 20 or 30 before. It's going to be a lot smaller post-COVID, this new wave, the second wave of Chinese travel. And when they travel as friends, what's important to note, again, thinking about Confucian philosophy, and there is hierarchy, Confucian relationships. It's all about hierarchy. So no two people, when they come together, will ever be equal. There'll always be one who has a different status, a higher status. That could be due to their age, could be due to their job. It could be due to where they live. But there will always be one a little bit higher than the other. So there is hierarchy when it comes to these groups of friends, and you'll see them travel. You'll always be able to tell that one will be slightly above the other. Where that takes me then is there will always be this little hidden feeling of competition, that one wants to be better than the other. So how do you encompass this when entertaining friends, welcoming Chinese friends as they travel again through the airport, staying at the hotels in your destination? Friends have different dynamics to families. Friends trust each other implicitly. That's why they're traveling together. But between them, one of the most important things that you can help them do is to have a great time. And what they're looking for are photo opportunities. They will want to compete with each other. Who can take the best selfie in the best place, in the newest place, in the trendiest place, at the newest shop, at the best hotel with the best light show? All of these things come into play. You'll watch the friends come in to check in, monitor them, see how you can help them, see how you can help each of them to really enjoy. But friends will be the second wave after family travel out of China. Okay, next, food. Who doesn't like Chinese food? And look, my first true authentic experience with true authentic Chinese food was when I met my wife Lily's family for the very, very first time. And this was a special occasion. I remember it so fondly. And I hadn't met Lily's family. I was invited round to the family home where I met Lily's mum, mother, father, and sisters. And as soon as I walked in, I could smell that the food had been cooking all day. It smelled fantastic. It smelled delicious. Lily's mum was in the kitchen and they sat me down, and then the food was brought out and I started eating. Anyway, I ate my first bowl and I ate it as fast as I could. I ate my second bowl and Lily kept saying, "How's the food?" I said, "This is fantastic. This is delicious." And I'm using chopsticks. I'm eating, and I kept eating. And as I'd finished a bowl, more food would come out. And after about 40 minutes, Lily said to me, she said, "Trevor, aren't you full yet?" And I said, "Oh, I'm so full, but every time I almost finish, your mum brings more food out." And she said, "Trevor, you need to leave a little bit of food in your bowl, rest your chopsticks, and that will be the sign to say to my mum, now you're full, you've had enough." Food is so central and so core to Chinese culture. I really can't explain it enough. And again, something that's very common, not only in China, but all around Asia, is the way that people greet each other. And I still do this with Lily's father. If I haven't seen him for a while, maybe a couple of weeks, and I might see him in the afternoon or mid-afternoon, and I say, "Oh, hi, Mr. Choi, nice to see you again." And he'll say, "Hi, Trevor, how are you? Have you had lunch yet?" And if it's in the evening, "Trevor, have you had dinner yet?" Even on the phone, "Have you eaten yet?" This is part of the greeting. This just sort of really exemplifies how important food is to Chinese culture. So how does that relate to you at your destination, your business, even at the airport, in the restaurants within your destination? A couple of issues that are really important when it comes to food in foreign destinations for Chinese traveller. First of all, please, please, please ensure that the Chinese can understand the food that is being presented to them, the food that is in the menu. Do you have the menu translated in your WeChat mini program? Is it available even in a real field menu that they can see in Chinese language? If they can't tell what it is, again, they might lose face because they feel silly that they can't understand. They'll feel embarrassed. Make sure they understand what food is available and what it is. Second thing that's really important when it comes to food for Chinese when they're traveling overseas is, how do they eat it? Often when, again, this is a common complaint that Chinese have when they're traveling overseas, they see the food, they know what it is, but how do they eat it? Should they eat it with a knife and fork? Should they use a sauce on it? There is a breakfast cereal. Should they use the cold milk or the warm milk? Or do they use ketchup on every dish like we might see in America? It's very important to help your Chinese travellers understand how to eat the food. And again, if you had a WeChat mini app with everything explained, they can scan a QR code. Great, I know what to do. I can use this utensil. I pour this sauce over. There's a little video. It helps. Food is important in Chinese culture. If you get that right, you will find Chinese people are going to enjoy their time with your destination, etc. Okay, the next one. The last, or this is the last F word, and that's fun. Chinese travellers, probably more than anything else when they travel abroad, they want to have fun. Chinese are fun people. I can't emphasise that enough. Very often they will arrive at a restaurant, they'll arrive at a destination, they'll arrive at an attraction. They want to have fun, and the fun starts with a smile. Again, ensuring that your staff are happy, welcoming, smiling. It is so important. This is just a picture at a family wedding, Lily's family in Foshan, Gaoming, a couple of years ago. It was a small family wedding, about 2,000 people. I was the only foreigner at this wedding. I was made to feel so welcome. The wedding was so much fun. So not only do you think about making sure that the food's right for them, but they want to have fun. They want to have fun drinking, whether it's alcoholic drinks or not alcoholic drinks. They want to have fun. They love parties. They love banquets. They love entertainment. Think, how can you apply fun throughout their stay to make sure they have a great time? Your destination, at your attractions, in your hotels, everything. So just sort of moving towards a wrap up now, what I'd like to do this, again, it's a key thing. It sounds easy, but it's not. Make it easy. Make it easy for your Chinese guests to engage with you before they leave China, through social media, through WeChat, through all the social media. Communicate with them. You should be doing that well before they leave. Engage with them in a language they understand. Make it easy to engage with you when they arrive in your airport, at your hotel. Make it easy. If it's easy, they will gain face. You're giving them face, and they'll have more fun. Make it easy for your Chinese guests, your Chinese travellers, to understand your offer. Is there a discount available? Is it 2 tickets for the price of 1? Do they get 20% off here or there? Make sure they really understand your offer. That comes down to language. It comes down to signage. It comes down, again, utilising the WeChat mini app will help you greatly. Get into it now. If you're not making it easy for them, why are they going to have a good time with you? Make it easy. Make it easy for them to enjoy their experience with you. Again, sounds simple. Work on it. Focus on seeing them smile, getting them to smile, give them face, make sure the food's there. Chinese are not used to eating big portions. Make sure all the different cuisines that you offer are cut into fine strips. Smaller portion size is how Chinese prefer their food. Whether it's Australia, you can still serve them up some kangaroo. It might be in Indonesia where it's turtle or tortoise that's being done. Small portions, make it the way that they can enjoy the experience. Make it easy for them to enjoy. Okay, this one. And again, there's been a lot of discussion in the summit so far and a lot of presentations. Make it easy for your Chinese guests, your Chinese travelers to buy, to purchase and spend their money with you. They're probably not going to travel with MasterCard or Visa card or Amex or Diners for that matter. As you've already heard, WeChat Pay, Alipay, and at the very least, Union Pay International. You could have a Chinese guest wanting to spend $500, $1,000, $10,000 in your store, at your restaurant, in your hotel. But if they can't pay because of your point of sales, they won't spend. If they can't spend, they lose face. You lose the money and the opportunity for the sale. Nobody's happy. Make it easy for them to buy, purchase, and spend. And finally, make it easy for them to remember their time with you. Your destination has all this complex set of interactions from the moment Chinese guests arrive to the moment they leave. From airport to hotel to attraction to theme park to experience to restaurant to shop to shopping mall, everything. Make it easy for them to remember, and you'll find they're going to tell the world and all their friends, their family about your destination. Make it easy. So summing up, the Chinese tourists and the F words you must know for success. It sort of sounds easy, but if you think about it all the time, first Chinese word was face. Very important. Give face at every opportunity and do everything possible to ensure your Chinese guests don't lose face. Don't feel embarrassed at any point. Second Chinese F word was family. These are the new travelers you're going to see. They want to travel in family groups because that's who they are. These are the most important people in their lives. Make sure you're family ready, family friendly, family welcoming. Again, at every touch point that you have. Third word is the friends. Friends are going to be traveling next. They trust each other. Different dynamics. Make sure all the photo opportunities are there, available. Point them out to them. Make sure they know where they are because that's going to go on social media. It's going to be posted on WeChat. That's what they're going to use. That's going to help your destination. Very, very important. Food. Again, food. Get it right. Make sure they know what they're eating, how to eat. Make it easy for them to eat. And again, give them every opportunity to enjoy. And finally, it's about fun. No one really travels not for fun. Chinese in particular want to have fun. They want to have a drink with you, a coffee with you, a dinner with you. Don't be afraid to enjoy that interaction. It's important. This Chinese tourism market that is going to come out, this next wave will be very, very different to anything we've seen before. It's up to us now to make it better than ever before to deliver the best experience possible. So on that note, to Jan, once again, thank you very much for inviting me to come on board for the Buzz Expo China Summit. I feel very honoured to be here. I hope all of your viewers and participants have enjoyed my presentation. I've enjoyed all the presentations today. I tuned in when you launched and started off. I've been in and out. I've watched the YouTube replays. It's been fantastic. Thank you for inviting me. I wish everyone the best of luck, and I certainly look forward to any questions in the future. Thank you so much, Jan.
Thank you very much, Trevor. This summit is all about building bridges, and your presentation is really hands-on. What can you do to build bridges between the way a Chinese customer, Chinese visitor, and the destination abroad? What can they do to welcome our Chinese people? It was great listening to you. It's always great to hear the Australian language.
Thank you.
And Trevor, you will be on the Expo the next couple of days. You have a booth. If anybody want to reach out, you can reach out. We have our calendar system, and reach out to Trevor. He has a lot of good info which you can use. Thank you.
Thanks, Jan. Thank you, everyone. Good night.